New this morning, a driver is being treated for serious injuries following a crash in Fairmount Park. The driver lost control of an SUV and that vehicle crossed the road and smashed into a tree. This happened around 10:15 last night at the intersection of Belmont and Edgeley Avenues. Firefighters had to free the driver from the wreckage, and investigators are working to figure out what caused that wreck.
Though I'm missing you,
Awake the trumpet of God. David said in Psalms 55:6 of the word of the Lord, "Oh, that I had wings like a dove, for then would I fly away and be at rest." There's a song we sing, "Some glad morning, when this life is over, I'll fly away to a home on God's celestial shores. I'll fly away, oh glory, in the morning when I die. Hallelujah, by and by, I'll fly away." We release this dove in memory of her life and her legacy. May her soul now rest in peace.
become so clear to me. Tomorrow ain't really guaranteed. So many days I thought of you. It's about time you knew the truth. Got to act quickly, you and I, and fall in love so many reasons why. Why don't we? So why don't we? Why don't we? Why don't we? Why don't we fall in love? Why don't we fall in love? It's so many reasons. It's the only thing that matters to me. It takes such a load off to let you know that you're the only one I never want to go. Things I never did, now I want to do. A love I never felt, now I feel for you. Why? Learn to swallow each and every ounce of my pride. Everything you do, I wanna feel again. Ain't no use for.
Hey, what's going on, guys? So, in this video, I'm going to do something rare. I mean, I've done it, but I haven't done it in a serious sense. I've done it in more of kind of a sarcastic or rhetorical kind of way, where I'm asking a question that I already know the answer to, or asking a question that I don't actually expect to get an answer to. But in this case, I'm going to ask a legitimate question, because I'm not going to say that it's been bugging me, but there's something that I've really been pondering about this whole this new era of thoughtbot culture. This slut shaming, no slut shaming era that we live in, where young women are encouraged, they're marketed, they are benefited, and even encouraged and raised to essentially just be thots, to be whores. As I explained to you guys a couple of videos back, this is no longer something that is, a shameful profession or way to present yourself to the world. This is something a la Cardi B, Nicki Minaj, or any of, Megan Thee Stallion, any Lizzo, any of a number of these fucking highlighted hood whores. This is something to, you know, um, actually strive towards being. And listen, it's profitable. I mean, nobody can deny that anymore. I think I made a video or a community post a year or so ago where I think it was a couple of years ago where I mentioned, excuse me, where I mentioned that from what I have observed, the whore has, like this era, this generation of whores that we call thots, or that call themselves IG models or video vixens or whatever the fuck. I mean, they have taken the place, from what I can see, they've taken the place of the drug dealer as the dominant degenerate in Black America. But all of that aside, so you saw the title of the video, right? So first I'll tell you the story, okay? It was basically another one of these, glorified, fake up, dolled up, hood whores, traveling hood whores, named Lejeune Trader, or Lejeune Kathleen Trader. That was her full name. She went by the name Glam Sissy Kins on Instagram. She had like 21,000 followers. Looked like she did some, I don't think she did professional modeling, but she did some amateurish IG modeling. And, par for the course, just like these other bimbos, as David Carroll used to call them, she's all over the place. Every 5-star restaurant in every tourist attracted city around the globe. She made her pilgrimage to Miami and, Abu Dhabi and, London, England, and all of that. She's wearing the Gucci Prada and, the jewelry, the diamonds, all this bullshit. And, one day, a few weeks ago, she's strumming along, doing what whores do, likely coming or going from some social function, more than like, well, it was Sunday, so I don't know if she was coming from the club. I don't know, because this happened in Philadelphia. In most places, clubs aren't open on Sunday, or entertainment venues aren't open on Sunday usually, right? I don't know. I guess it depends on the city and the locale. But she was coming from somewhere. It may not have been the club per se, even though she was obviously a club thot. And according to police, she was traveling at a very, very high rate of speed, as you saw in the intro, in a practically brand new 2017 white Mercedes-Benz SUV. And she lost control of the vehicle, crashed into an electrical pole, and then deflected off the pole and crashed head-on into a tree. The impact caused the Mercedes-Benz to partially catch fire, and she suffered massive traumatic injuries. Emergency services, including the Philadelphia Fire Department and police, came on the scene, transported the Thoughtbot to a local hospital, where she later died of her injuries. This took place back on March 6th. Now, this bimbo was 32 years old. Granted, I haven't seen anything indicating that she had any children. She may or she may not have. But, just seeing stories like this and, skimming over her social media and observing how her and, how she represents how so many younger people, even a lot of these bitches, once they get well into their 30s and should know better, just the frivolous, just the frolicky dolicky, carefree reckless way that a lot of these young people, especially a lot of niggas, live their life. Like, I mean, you can't be offed at any second. And y'all have heard me bring this up before. Even the way they celebrate these dead ass thoughts, loud, ignorant, ratchet. Black people as a collective, especially this younger generation, they just have no cognizance of self-preservation or logical common sense or reality. I mean, it's like they're just living in a third dimension with, Alice in Wonderland and Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory or something. Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs or some shit. Niggas are, it's like they're just completely oblivious to reality, the way they live their lives. And I oftentimes don't know if that's because a lot of them regret the fact that they were born and they just simply don't care about life, or they want to die, or they're so accustomed to, being surrounded by death. You've also heard me talk about the culture of death in, young Black America, or because they are actually gullible enough and, naive enough to believe that they can't die young. I don't know what the fuck is wrong with these niggas, but I know this. You have to keep your eyes open and you have to steer clear of them if you want to live and maintain your health. Because death surrounds these idiots. If it's not a stray or intended bullet, it's drunken driving. It's drug use, it's alcohol abuse. It's domestic violence. It's checking out early due to poor diet and poor lifestyle. It's always some type of foolishness with these Negroes that winds up causing them or someone else an early demise or some kind of, irreversible damage physically, mentally, or emotionally to their life. Niggas, and Akwasi alluded to this on several occasions. Black people fail to analyze the world and the environment around them in general. These are just facts. These are just facts about especially the American Negro. I mean, fuck that living fast and die young shit. I want to live to see at least 70, just to see what I can accomplish in life. Why live a fast, short life of an idiot and not get to see, what's going to happen possibly 20, 30 years down the road. You might become a millionaire or something. You might live to see somebody, if it's not yourself, discover the cure for cancer. Who knows? But anyway, as I was saying, in regards to this Philly bimbo thought, you can see she lived a very fast lifestyle and it finally caught up with the hoe, as it commonly does with a lot of these young bitches, living that thought fast party lifestyle. And so, after, she died, everybody sending tributes on Facebook and everything. And then I saw there wasn't much of a direct news report about it, but there was a local Philadelphia news station that released like initial reports about the crash and showed the wreckage of the vehicle and the tree that it crashed into and the pole that it knocked over. And somebody in the comment section noted something that I hadn't paid attention to. But before they even said it, I already figured that alcohol was involved. I mean, if you see this bitch, she's all over the place. Hotels, restaurants, drinking cocktails or this, that, or whatever. You know how these party club thoughts are. You know how these whores are. But somebody in the comment section had mentioned that there were whiskey bottles on the ground. Okay. And, indicating apparently there had been some whiskey bottles that had either been, thrown clear of the car, like they had been ejected from the car or they fell out when police pulled her drunk ass out of the vehicle. And that indicates that alcohol was involved and may have been the main influence behind her speeding and driving recklessly. I will say this. Luckily, the only person this dumb bitch killed was herself and that pole, because we know too common, a lot of these reckless ass bitches kill other people. I mean, me and some brothers, including Trucker Twone, we were just behind the scenes, and y'all know, I think, did I do a community post about that? No, I did. Did I do a community post? I don't remember, man. There's so much shit going on. But we were just talking about the other day how in Baltimore, some bitch was apparently drag racing with somebody on the Beltway and wound up losing control after being clipped by the car they was trying to cut into the lane of, and the car wound up flipping over, going into a gap in a concrete barrier divide and killing 6 construction workers. And it was a really sad scene. I remember last year, some bitch in LA at Slauson and La Brea, the intersection of Slauson and La Brea, was driving another Mercedes Benz, but it was a black car. And y'all remember she barreled into an intersection at like 80 or 90 fucking miles an hour and, impacted 2 cars, caused a huge fireball, and killed 5 people, including this pregnant hood rat. And somehow she walked away from that almost unscathed. And just a couple of weeks before that, there was a Hispanic, a little Latino thought bitch in, I believe, Carpentersville, which is, I believe, far west Chicagoland, Chicago suburbs. She went the wrong way, driving drunk on the fucking, I think, I-57, or now it may not have been the I-57. Which freeway is that goes out west? Man, it's been so long since I've been in fucking Chicago. Well, anyway, she was on the, I think it might have been the Bishop Ford Expressway, I don't know. But she impacted a family of 7 and wound up killing all 7 of them, including the parents, all of their children, plus a family friend that was with the kids in the family at the time. She had a head-on collision with their van, killed 8 people. There's 2, and I think last year there was a accident out in Las Vegas where some dummy in a Charger made contact with a car full of people, and like 9 people, including the person in the Charger, and 8 people in the other car died. So there's a lot of stupid motherfuckers out here behind the wheel, and I think really the powers that be have just, I've always said that the qualifications to get a driver's license should be a lot more stringent than it is. They should make motherfuckers take a dummy test, if you ask me, like take an IQ test, a competency test, just like with the pregnancy thing. Not everybody should be allowed to get a fucking driver's license, but nonetheless, thankfully, this time, the only person this fucking idiot bitch managed to kill was herself. I have zero sympathy for these whores, when they meet their demise, whether it's, at the hands of some pookie that they're hopping up and down on the dick of, or some Brad, that they're divesting with, or as a result of, driving recklessly and under the influence. I have, or knowingly going to some, danger zone, like where there's a hurricane or where, there's drug cartel activity. I have no sympathy. Like I said in the last video, a fool and his or her life is soon parted. And, I mean, you can take one look at this entire situation and tell this was a dumb hoe. I mean, whiskey bottles outside of the car, crash into a pole and a tree, 10 o'clock at night on a Sunday evening. I mean, where are you going that fast on a Sunday? Ain't nothing open that late at night in most places. Where the fuck are you going in such a damn hurry? And, even when I observed the scene, when I observed the Mercedes-Benz, I said, it has a little front end damage, some significant front end damage, but I've seen crashes far worse than that where people survive. So, the Benz itself for smashing, impacting two different solid objects, including a pole and a tree, it actually don't look all that bad. The cab part where the driver or passenger is actually completely intact and seems to be, unscathed, unaffected. I'm assuming the bitch's airbags deployed. So that means that this hoe probably, in addition to being drunk and speeding, wasn't wearing her seatbelt. Another indicator of irresponsibility. I mean, I'm not saying that you can't, die in a forward impact crash like that. We all remember what happened to Dale Earnhardt in NASCAR, but it's especially in a S-Class Mercedes-Benz, like I think this vehicle was. There's no way in that type of driving that type of vehicle with the type of safety measures that they put in place that she shouldn't have survived that, except she probably wasn't wearing her seatbelt. But that notwithstanding, this does pose a question that I have. Okay, we see so many of these thoughts, living what we know is a fake lifestyle. Okay, we know this is a fake lifestyle because they're not living in a mansion. They're not driving a Ferrari. Okay, they don't have a summer home in Florida, but somehow the Negro, and it's particularly the Negro female, these dolled up bitches that, often get all this, fake Botox butt injection, Brazilian butt lift, plastic surgery, I don't know, this chick, she looked like she may have been natural, but you never know with these bitches. They have mastered the art of make-believe. They've mastered the art of pretend. And it's always intrigued me because, listen, if we're talking about, like, say, a Stephen Curry, or somebody like that, if his wife gets on the gram, I don't follow these people. But if she gets on the gram, or if Gabby Union, I think she's still with Dwayne Wade, I don't know. But if they get on the gram and they start stunting, right? That's legit because, their husbands and even themselves in some cases in their own right, as, a professional actress in Gabrielle Union's case, or Beyonce or Rihanna, the billionaire. They got the money and the assets to back that up. But what I notice, and this is common, is that a lot of these broke ass hood whores, okay, like for example, Mercedes Moore, aka Janae Grandier, she's living in a tiny apartment in Houston, in the Houston area, and she's servicing Johns behind the scenes of doing all this IG modeling. And people were so surprised to find her, dead in that apartment with some scruffy looking bummy ass, Latin white dude, right? So a lot of these bitches we know are living a lie, but they make living a fake lifestyle, they make it look as good as they make wearing fake up and what Crystalline Carrison once called doll hair. They make it look, glamorous. Niggas, I told y'all not too long ago that if niggas actually used the logical part of their brain to do the shit that they do when they use the illogical part of their brain, if niggas actually figured out how to do constructive shit, like they figure out how to do destructive and non-constructive shit. Do you realize black people would be the most dangerous motherfuckers on planet Earth? Okay? Everybody would have their nukes pointed at us. It's amazing how creative. Even one of you niggas said in the comment section, one of my videos, it's like, you said that niggas find ways to reach a new low every day. It almost seems effortless how these niggas are creative in their stupidity or their vanity. Because really what these IG bitches are, they're just walking, talking, breathing vanity. And their lives are so vain and so fake. You know, it's like even when they die, people continue to front right up until they put the dead bitch in the ground. You know, how much do these fucking funerals cost? I see so many of these black bitches. That's another thing. These thought bots, particularly these hoes that are popular on social media. I guess somewhere they get enough money from somewhere to have these fancy ass funerals that have to cost tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars. I mean, where do these broke ass niggas get the money for a horse and carriage? Ever since Aaliyah died in that plane crash back in 01, I've been seeing this everywhere. As a matter of fact, I think she started that trend. I didn't notice that before Aaliyah's funeral in New York. Where the fuck? And that's hence my point. Okay? It's one thing if you have like a Floyd Mayweather, a guy, you know, he likes to be flashy with his cash. Everybody knows that. And matter of fact, his nickname is Money Mayweather. You know, he has like 20 or 30 fucking sports cars or whatever. But, you know, he's earned that right. You know, he boxed his way to the top of, you know, the boxing mountain peak. Okay, he at one point was at the top of the food chain in the boxing world. Okay, he earned his keep. If he wants to spend his money that way, he can spend his money that way. But I'm trying to figure out, are these bitches really getting all this money to live this fake ass lifestyle? Because you do realize now, a lot of these bitches, they go back home to Section 8 or they're living with, you know, siblings or their mothers. I'm not saying in every case, okay? But a lot of these bitches are living off of people or living with people, okay? Or they're on some type of government welfare, you know, or, I mean, I just, like, what they portray is not what is actually going on. A lot of these bitches are struggling to pay, you know, car notes and rent and utilities. And we know this because in a lot of cases when they die, maybe not in this case specifically, but in a lot of cases when they die, the family and friends always put up a fucking GoFundMe. In like 90%, 95% of the cases. Because, you know, at first, I'm observing the social media of this, you know, Philadelphia bimbo. And I'm saying, well, damn, maybe like that Zimbabwean nigger that also got himself killed drinking and driving, Janimbi, maybe she really did have it like that. Or she was, you know, dealing with some dude that had it like that. But that was until I saw them overweight hoes that were her sisters at the, you know, the balloon release that these ratchet thots love to have all the time. You saw in the intro all loud and, you know, thanking everybody for coming to the memorial service and, you know, just being their regular ghetto selves. And I saw they're standing on what appeared to be the porch of some, you know, building block in Philadelphia. And I'm looking at the neighborhood and I'm saying, man, this just looked like a typical hood on the East Coast. You know, New York, Baltimore, Philadelphia, DC. You know, these bitches wasn't living large. These look like broke hoes that work at Walmart and McDonald's. So I said, now, are these the same sisters that, you know, look all bummed out now? You know, I know they you know, doing the tribute thing for their sister that made the irresponsible choice to drink and drive. But I said, are these the same sisters? Are these the same thoughts that were dolled up in her social media videos and her Instagram, at the yacht parties, in the hotel pool, in Spain, in France, all made up, all done up, trying to look like one of them bitches off House Horrors of Atlanta? Because if it is, then chances are she probably looks similar to this when all that shit comes off. And, where are they living? Because it's clearly not in, the motherfucking Beverly Hills section of Philly. If they look like this and they outside of a building block that look like I said, any hood on the East Coast. So that's what got me to thinking, like, these look like Section 8 hoes. I don't know their story, but they clearly do not look rich. When all that fake up and all that weave and, all that other bullshit ass mess that they do to, stunt for the gram, when all that shit came off and they were at the memorial service, like I said, they just look like any other broke hoe. So I'm thinking, okay, she's probably in the same situation as her sister, right? Might even live with him. So how are these females funding this? You've heard of operation. How are they funding this corporation? How do they do this to stunt for the gram? Because even faking it till you make it, as they say, like people who rent, Ferraris and Lamborghinis, that still fucking takes money, nigga. And as much as these hoes clown, it takes a significant amount of money. I mean, who can even afford to do this once every 6 months? With all the bills and rising inflation. It's just amazing the frivolous time that society, the free time that society allows these funky, lazy ass whores to just, frolicky dolicky away and waste fucking time on shit, while the rest of us are actually paying taxes. But seriously, somebody from the hood on the East Coast or wherever, not just Philly, you see these bitches from one place to the next, from Alaska to Antarctica. How are these raggedy bitches funding this stunt for the gram, thought bot operation? How do they do this? How? Is it all hoeing and stripping? Being in a relationship with a drug dealer? What is affording them this opportunity and all this goddamn free time? I mean, these bitches, they literally have more time on their hands than trolls on the internet. And I'm talking about trolls under the age of 18. It's ridiculous. And then, after I, got done observing how her sisters acted and really looked when all that fake doll shit came off, I started skimming over her Instagram stories. And that's when I saw it. I came across this image. And that's when I saw it. A telltale sign. One of the primary signs that you're dealing with a hood rat or white trash. You may recall that I brought this up in a community post with some white bitches many moons ago. Well, not many moons ago. It's been probably a year and a half ago by now. There was this picture of her lounging out, stretching out on a beach chair. I guess, I don't know, could have been anywhere. Could have been in an apartment complex. Could have been in a, resort in some faraway place. But on her leg and ankle, she had a monitor. Now, these monitors, as we know, are typically placed on people that are given allowance by a court after they've been convicted of a crime to have restrictive movement and freedom outside of a jail or a prison. And people who have these ankle monitors generally have committed some type of a felony. Okay? When I first saw this picture, I didn't notice it because I don't know. I was looking at the background, looking at her. But then when I looked at it, I saw it seemed to be covered with something. And at the time that I saw this, noticed this ankle bracelet on this bitch's foot, I looked at the screenshot that I took during my research and saw that at the top it said 115 weeks ago, which would have made this about 2.2 years ago, which would have put this right at around either December of 2021 or January of 2022, January of last year. And so it's been quite a while ago. And, she was probably on some type of probation or, like I said, restricted movement 2 years ago. But now that I think about it, considering the whiskey bottles that were seen outside of her car, there's a legit possibility that the bitch was probably on, some type of restriction due to some DUI felony conviction. Bad habits have a habit of repeating themselves with these degenerates that very rarely, if ever, learn from their mistakes. Although that's just, a hypothesis. It could have been on her ankle for any of a number of reasons. These bitches are always getting into something. And I said, okay, so this is a dolled up hood rat. Just a made up mascara face wearing hood whore, Philadelphia hood whore through and through. Probably messes with thugs, gets in all kinds of, death bot fights with other hood whores. She's just really good at, prettying and dolling herself up, wearing fake up, and taking pictures. But when you take all that shit away, raggedy ass neighborhood. Well, I don't know if it's raggedy, but it's a hood neighborhood where her sisters live. They're loud and ratchet. She's wearing an ankle monitor. This is no different than any other hood rat. She's no Ciara married to some, super simp like Russell Wilson is probably worth a few tens of millions of dollars by now. So the point is, she's nothing special. She's obviously not rich. But I said when I saw that ankle bracelet, because a lot of you guys know that I also did a community post on this, I said, this Lejeune Trader bitch that, went under a different name on Instagram, Glam Sissy Kins or whatever the fuck. She is the exact type of, wannabe Ciara chick that a lot of these dumbass niggas would call a dime piece. She's one of these type of chicks that niggas get caught up over, like Jonathan Majors, like Chris Brown. I'm not, and don't get it twisted. I'm not just talking about dudes from the hood. I'm talking about these celebrity dudes, like Nick Cannon, okay? She's the type of chick that, dolled up and everything, fat ass, when all that shit come off and she take that waist trainer off, she probably just look like a overweight bitch. But nonetheless, she the type of chick that, even black celebrity dudes that have resources, the so-called high value men, find themselves entangled with. She's the type of chick that, like a Kevin Samuels, will be caught dead, fucking in the bed. I mean, we know his story. That's the type of chick this is. She's the type of chick that, these NBA players and these football players and these boxers like Floyd Mayweather be spending their money on. Okay? A hoe like this in the right setting, okay? Because, these hoes come a dime a million, but in the right setting, she could get the attention of any one of these so-called high-value black dudes, even among the most famous. And this is unique to black men because we know that while there are some white men who have that type of cheddar and have that type of pull and status that make piss poor mistakes, most of them very carefully vet the bitches that they allow. And I'm not talking about just pulling the panties to the side, but they very closely vet the type of females that they allow into their personal space for long periods of time. Okay? To the point where if they do ever, get caught up on some mess, it's after years they went back down the road and they just then ran through an entire mountain load of hoes. Okay? What that dumb nigga in Brazil called a boatload of hoes. Right? But the nigga will literally put everything that he has, like Jonathan, your boy Jonathan Majors, who's now, losing endorsements. There's calls for him to be replaced in some upcoming productions that he was doing for TV and film. The Negro is literally willing to put everything on the line just to have not only something to stick his penis in, but to have a so-called dime piece chick. Because he's stupid enough to view these whores as like a fine car or something. It's like a piece of his property. Not willing to accept the fact, not even cognizant of the fact that at any given moment, this bitch could ruin his life. Okay? Now I want you to imagine, like I said, thankfully, this Lejeune traitor bitch, she only managed to kill her drunken, irresponsible self. But imagine if she had one of them dumb niggas in her car. Even if one of these goofy ass dating coaches or, SYSBM or whatever the fuck these niggas call themselves, one of these goofy ass manosphere niggas like, O'Shea Duke Laxon. Imagine if she had one of these goofy ass niggas in her car while she was speeding at a high rate of speed doing 100 and a 30, driving drunk. Then she would have not only killed herself, she would have killed or seriously injured him too. But the Negro, his brain does not advance that far. Just like the nigga that got killed in Mississippi. All they can see at the time is, I want to try to get the number of this female. I want to talk to females. I want to have something to brag to my buddies about how much poon I didn't get, how many numbers I didn't get, how much pull I have with the hoes, how many hoes I got in my back pocket. But it's no fun when the rabbits got the gun. And whether intentionally or, in this case, unintentionally, these bitches often bring about the demise of themselves, their children, and black men, including black men who should really know better. Like Bill Cosby, like R. Kelly. But we don't want to get too far off track here. That's beside the point of this video. Back to the topic at hand. So my question is, because I know that some of you who lurk here or participate in this sector of YouTube, you're either from the streets or you have some experience being around people in the hood from the streets. You have experience with dating or dealing with these, social media, these digitalized prostitutes, as I call them. And my question is this: how does a person who looks like they have never worked an honest day in their fucking life, who looks like they can't bust a grape. They have no degree. They have no skills. How does a person even afford to flaunt a fake lifestyle online? You know, I'm asking as a person who frequently travels myself, but I travel for work. As I said, I run a business. I'm an entrepreneur, but I'm always working. I don't have time, to stunt for the gram, as they say. I suppose if I wanted to waste money like that, I could, but I don't have time for that shit. How do these bitches go from being, just your everyday average, run-of-the-mill, hood rat to, all this shit that we see that they put on Instagram? And look, I know that a picture is, a picture is only a very short time frame, in the whole existence of a person's life. Like people who stand next to celebrities and take pictures, really good pictures, and make it seem like in the picture, it looks like they've known that person all their life. But okay, let's just say that these bitches are broke. Or let's just say that they are leeching off someone, which a lot of them commonly are. I've also heard that a lot of these bitches, they run like little small businesses like clothing lines and, weave salons, and, they do hair and all kinds of shit, right? But honestly, okay, if we're being realistic, if they're living in a place like, in this bitch's case, like Philadelphia, okay, it's probably not the most expensive city in the world, but it's not the cheapest city in the world. How does a bitch, and we see, so it's not just this hoe particularly. I'm just using her story in general to ponder this question. How does a hoe that has to at least share rent, because nobody lives for free, okay? Nobody lives for free in this world, okay? How do you pay your rent and utilities, okay? Even if, let's just say, they're, selling ass, or they're modeling, or they're doing hair, or they're selling fake hair, whatever they do for a living. How do these bitches afford to, or even if they're on welfare, how do they pay for their real life, right? And maintain that well enough, even if they're behind on some stuff. How do they maintain that well enough to go out and flaunt and afford to flaunt this fake lifestyle? Okay, I mean, these bitches are going on vacation, hocation, like every damn month, or so it seems, to Miami or Vegas or Abu Dhabi or London. I've seen these bitches in Egypt, outside the pyramids, and fucking other parts of Africa. How, they're at these fancy 5-star hotels and these fancy $100 a plate, fancy looking restaurants, and wearing all these real or knockoff brand clothes and heels and lingerie. How do these bitches put up? Niggas are very good at faking like they're rich. I think it was a comedian, I forget his name, this black comedian, he spoke about that, how niggas love to look rich. They would rather look rich than actually be rich. But even if you're living a fake lifestyle, stunting for the gram, as people say, how do they afford that? Is it like and this is why I'm asking people that have more experience with, these party, hood street types. Like, is it like a group thing, where, like, because I notice in a lot of these cases, a lot of these bitches, they're not alone when they go on these vacations, or they, do the shit that they do, at the parties or the clubs. They're usually with somebody. Do they just like share the bill with other hoes? But then again, I got to take into consideration that this goofy bitch was driving a $40,000 vehicle when she crashed into that fucking tree. So this bitch, even if she's paying a note on that, okay, where did she get, where did a 32-year-old bimbo, right, that looked like she ain't worked an honest day's work in her fucking life, did some nigga she fucking co-signed for? And then, that's another question, not just these hoes, where do these fucking hood dudes get the money to drive these fucking Challengers? Now, I know what everybody, not everybody, I want to hear honestly. I need answers from people that are reformed hood folks or current hood folks. Skip the bullshit. I need to hear directly from them, because a biased person is gonna say, a biased person is gonna just assume, well, the bitches, they're hoeing, they're selling ass, which a lot of them are. We know that, but not all of them are selling ass, and even if they are selling ass, okay, they're not selling ass at the level where they can afford. Do you understand? There are porn stars that constantly, do sex scenes for money that don't flaunt on the gram like this, okay? And so a biased person will say, well, the bitches are selling ass and the niggas are selling drugs. That's how they're affording these Chargers and all this shit. We know these little dumbass niggas are not, we know they're not working legit like 9-to-5 jobs, and most of them are not running their own legit businesses. Now, I've heard, of the, like the street hustling, and, some hustlers are at the top of the food chain, some aren't. But like, what is really going on? You don't want to assume that every nigga, even every hood nigga, is doing illegal shit to obtain what they have. But obviously, in these poor communities, okay, there is a lot of money flowing through these communities. And I mentioned this years ago, back in, I think, 2016, when I said that Negroes have a goldfish in a jar mentality. What I meant was, it was even proven at the height of the crack era that there were, young black boys, teenagers, young black men selling drugs on the street. Some of them motherfuckers was making close to $20,000 a day in some cases. One dude, he said in a documentary on VH1, he said, man, if you make less than $900 a day, that's a slow day. He said, I've made as much as $9,000 in a day. Okay? These dudes were practically rich and but they were poor in the mind because they never tried to move out of the hood, right? They never tried to upgrade, where they were living. They just repeated the cycle of doing the same stupid shit because it's about appearance with the Negro. It's never about, actually laying a fucking foundation. So people in the hood, not all of them, many of them are poor, but these little young and dumb motherfuckers, they're getting money from somewhere. We know this, ain't all of them some Tekashi 6ix9ine or Kanye West fucking, wannabe rapper, okay? Not all of them are selling drugs, okay? Even if all of these bitches were selling ass, they're not selling it to the extent that they can afford to go on a fucking vacation overseas. I mean, you're talking about plane ticket, hotel costs. I mean, what is y'all tell me? I honestly want to know, what are they just, going to a place for 1 or 2 days and splitting the bill on the hotel and the plane tickets? I mean, how the fuck are they doing this? No, let me tell you something. No regular working person, okay, even a person that makes 6 figs can afford to even put on a fake front the way these motherfuckers do. I mean, what are they living in fucking garbage cans and just investing all of their fucking time and effort into this fake front, like the fake shit that they put on their face and get injected in their asses? I mean, what the fuck is going on? It's not irking me that it's happening, because I know Like this Lejeune bitch, most of these dumb niggas are gonna meet an early demise, either prison or a mental breakdown or an early grave. Okay? But it's irking me not fully knowing and understanding. You've heard me reference this shit before, and I just assume that, these hoes, they basically just, selling ass. But I want it from an unbiased perspective, from somebody that actually, is a part of that, about that life, or has been about that life. Like, like the somebody who has the what's the word for it? The insider trading information. Give me the insider trading information. Now, what the fuck is going on? Where are these bitches getting the money? Not only to live this fake ass lifestyle, where's this cash coming from? Okay, are all of them stripping? And is stripper money, can it really afford all that shit? Where they putting their whole money in stock, investing it in stocks and bonds? I mean, what the fuck is going on? Where are these little niggas getting these goddamn fucking Dodge Chargers and fucking Mercedes Benzes and all this shit, and going on all these fancy vacations? Where is this money coming from, dude? Who is signed? When they go to these fucking car dealerships to get these cars, they have to either have the money or they have to have, somebody with good credit to sign for them. Where the fuck is this money coming from, bro? I'm storing my money away, but there's so many niggas that are putting their money, investing their money into putting on this constant front of fakeism, as, that comedian said, where they're trying to look rich, even though none of them are. They're trying to keep up with the Joneses, so to speak, to mimic these highlighted bitches that they see. I guess these glorified whores like Nicki Minaj or Cardi B or Megan Thee Stallion. I guess that's what they're doing. But how are they affording to do that? I guess where there's a will, there's a way, right? A person figures out how to do something, and then they do it and they get better at doing it. But y'all tell me, what the fuck is going on, man? Leave the comments in the comment section. Thanks so much for listening. Talk to you later, guys.